So, Honky Tonk, we want to ask you a question because I know you're never shy, always outspoken.
Yes, sir.
And I remember seeing something. I think it was on your website not too long ago. Honky Tonk, man, let me ask you this. Hulk Hogan in TNA, is he a double agent?
I would think he's absolutely a double agent. And not only I give that company about 12 months.
Wow.
They're going to spend about $100 million, and then Dixie Carter's daddy, he's going to say, honey, the scholarship's over. It's time for you to go get a real job now.
Oh, wow.
I think that's a shoot.
Wow.
I think that's true.
It's better when he says it.
Look, as long as you got Bubba the Love Sponge,
True.
Eric Bischoff,
Yep.
Brian Knobs, and Beefcake all having a battle royal up Hogan's ass. I mean,
that's not a good venue.
No.
That's why. From what I understand, that's why they shaved Eric's head. Eric's hair was irritating Hogan's rectum.
Hemorrhoids. He was so far deep, it was his hemorrhoids, mate.
I've always said if you want to find those guys, you got to look for their feet sticking out of Hogan's ass.
Wow. They're in there deep.
And with Bubba being 400 pounds, the only way to pull him out of there is with a backhoe.
Wow.
You actually have a bit of a petition going on right now on Facebook. Fire Bubba the Love Sponge. You want to talk about that?
Well, you know, we've tried everything we can, and apparently Mick Foley gave him a nice stiff shot right to the face the other night.
Looked pretty
Somebody
snug.
Said, well, Bubba, you're going to have to go to the doctor and have some blood work done because we don't know if you have AIDS or anything like that. You shouldn't be in the wrestling business. So Foley gave him some blood work. He hit him right in the nose.
Nice.
That looked pretty stiff, didn't it?
From what I understand, they stuck tampons up his nose to keep him from bleeding.
Wow.
Well, they took him out of his vagina.
Well, yeah, maybe out of Bischoff's wife's.
Whoa!
Yeah!
Hey, kick
Loving
him when
where
you're
this
up,
is
kick him
going?
Listen, kick him when you're up, kick him when you're down.
Yeah.
Especially kick him in the nuts.
Yeah. You know what? I gotta say, when the other side of the coin here, and believe me, we have championed on this show, especially since the thing with Awesome Kong happened. We have said, you know what, Bubba, you've sort of overstayed your welcome in the shortest amount of time in history. But that being said, from the wrestling mindset, Honky, when he's out there talking to Mick Foley and the whole crowd is chanting "Fire Bubba, Fire Bubba,"
Exactly.
Isn't that the reason to keep him?
Well, you know, if the fans are saying things like that, that's extremely negative, which makes other people turn the channels and go back to watch
Right.
WWE.
WWE. One of the guys told me, they said, you know, if WWE went out of business tomorrow, TNA would still be number 2.
I think Zabisco said that on the show.
For real.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. I think the old mindset is he's getting a reaction, shitty as it is. You know, to make him like the heel manager of the Wolfpack or something like that does not sound like a stretch at this point. Yeah. And he's going to be pulling in heat like crazy. Is it the kind of heat that makes you turn the show off? I don't know.
Well, yes, I think it is, and Eric Bischoff carries that same kind of heat. You just want to turn the channel. So,
totally.
But getting back to the big picture,
yes, sir.
If this TNA and Panda Energy has so much money,
yes,
they have all this money to spend.
Yes,
if you're going to go head to head, then go head to head every Monday with a live show.
Oof.
Where's their balls? Where's their sack? They got no sack.
That's pricey.
But just
it all boils down to the double agent running as the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what? It really does feel like Dixie Carter, who's a lovely woman, is just getting worked.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
well, you know, there's a sucker born every minute, and she obviously is one. And that could mean literally 2.
I got to think, Honky Tonk, this week on TNA, when Jeff Jarrett was outed once again as having zero musical talent, that must have made you smile.
Well, I missed the show because I was traveling. And
Okay.
Mind you, I never see the show anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I was coming from Minnesota, and I read the internet reports on it.
Yeah.
I don't watch the product because I could care less about seeing Ric Flair out there and Hulk Hogan rolling around like two old men and blood coming down their faces. If that's all they have left, just go home.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's a sad state when you've got a gig just to get over in every segment you're on TV.
Well, that's been Flair's whole thing. He's like Dusty Rhodes, to lay in the corner and bleed, and make the big comeback. At the bionic elbow, baby.
Let me ask you this. We were having a discussion off air before we started the show tonight. In your opinion, and I think you've sort of answered it already, but in your opinion, when you're talking about guys like, and we'll look at both shows, guys like Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, and then on the other side, Bret Hart, with these comebacks that these guys are doing, are they hurting their own legacy?
Well, I don't think Bret's really hurting his legacy because he's not that actively involved in the match or how the match is going to be done. It's been more of a verbal thing with a few shots here and there, as opposed to Flair, who had the great send-off and should have just drifted off into oblivion, maybe started working with his two sons a little better and trained them to be better wrestlers, as horrible as they were in the ring. But he could have done independent shows around the world and been a spokesperson. Got on the speaking circuit. He could have done so many other things as opposed to ripping so many people off. And when I say rip people off, this guy owes money left and right.
Wow. Who, Nature Boy?
Well, yeah, he owes Ring of he owes Ring of Honor a lot of money.
Yeah, he does. That's right. They have a big lawsuit.
He owes High Spots a lot of money.
Yes, he does. You're right.
I mean, this guy he just comes in and swerves them. They open their pocketbook and he runs away.
Pretty sure he owes his ex-wife a ton too. And
then, of course, he gets married about 4 or 5 times. The guy, he's obviously got some kind of a learning disability.
But funny part is last November he got married for the 4th or 5th time, and already that's gone up the tube.
And then she beat the shit out of him. So.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know if you see this or not, Hockey, but if you haven't, I think you might enjoy it. Over the last week, one of our listeners turned me on to this. Have you seen these, Frank? The Last Call with Scott Hall.
Fantastic.
Last Call with Scott Hall vignettes on YouTube, and there's some really funny ones. Scott Hall hanging out with Zbyszko, and Zbyszko just rapes Nate.
Wow.
And it's funny to listen to. I mean, Larry comes off sounding a little bit bitter, but man, he just rapes Nate, and it's funny to listen to.
Well, I'll have to listen to that. That's very interesting, And of course, I got this Bushwhacker over here. He likes to whack in that bush.
And that's why they say I'm from down under. Whackety whack.